Hey Joe,
Okay, we're here. Hi, Lizbeth. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Everything's good. Where are you located?
I'm in South Carolina, but I'm originally from England.
Okay, excellent. Well, I'm in
Yeah.
Kansas City, Missouri. I'm in the middle of the country. It's wonderful to meet you. Are you
You
ready to hop
too.
in? Do you have any questions?
Yes.
Okay.
Um, I think the only thing I wanted to say, you're recording video as well as audio, right? So
Unless you want to
YouTube
do
or
one or the
something?
other, I'm good either way.
No, I'm fine with both, so
Okay.
that's fine.
Okay.
So, yeah. Okay,
Excellent.
great.
Well, it's wonderful to meet you. Thank you so much for taking a minute out for the show today.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
You bet. So let's begin our journey into your world and work by asking you this. 5 years ago, this pandemic was changing the world, changing all of us. How did you get
Right.
through the pandemic of 2020, and how has it affected you today?
Okay. So, I have to say that the pandemic didn't affect me negatively the way it did lots of people. And that's because just before the pandemic, I went through a really acrimonious divorce and custody case. I was accused of some things that weren't true. I ended up running out of money, and I lost my children. And it was a very painful time for me. So I was already retreating inwards. And then when COVID happened, it seemed like a natural extension of what I was doing for myself anyway. So I actually really welcomed the space. I recognized, of course, that it was had terrible and painful consequences for millions of people. But for me, I managed to turn it into something that it just felt like a very healing retreat. I'm a natural introvert anyway, so I really didn't find the isolation hard at all. I loved going out and just having empty roads, just doing on curbside pickup, not having to go shopping, all of that. And then I really transformed my life. I used that healing space to go inwards. I discovered internal family systems and started training in it around that time. So I started building my practice of seeing clients online. So it didn't feel like terribly painful. It seemed to work for me and where I was in my life back then. How it affects me now. Um, I trained originally as a biologist. So for me, just having people be more aware of, how easily microbes can be, how they're so contagious and how they can be transmitted so easily. I just really appreciated that. And having this extra consciousness around health and hygiene was really good. And I wish that people would continue more of that because COVID is still among us and it can still kill people.
So let me ask you this. If I was to put you in front of a bunch of 12-year-olds at career day right now, and one of the kids in the room wanted to know what you do for a living, how would you
Right.
answer that child?
Okay, so I help people go inside and heal parts of themselves who carry trauma so that they can deal with their sadness, deal with any negative feelings inside them, and they can live lives of joy, playfulness, creativity, and so that they can be free to be themselves and live that out in all aspects of their lives.
So what did you want to be when you were 12 years old? What was your dream?
I wanted to be a writer. Because I love writing. So
Yeah.
I still do a lot of that. After biology, I became a teacher. So for me, it was writing, I think, as a form of teaching. So it's always been something, reaching out to other people, sharing a mindset with them, challenging people in their beliefs and their ways of thinking. That was always important to me. So even when I became an internal family systems therapy practitioner, it wasn't enough that it was just a therapeutic modality. For me, it's a way of life, a spiritual practice, a way of being. So I still write a lot because I want to teach people how to bring this modality and way of thinking into their everyday lives.
So how did all of these foundational elements get born into you, or how did they grow into who you are today? Being a writer, helping people, just evolving to where you're at. You've traveled a lot. Take me back to your beginnings, and how did all of this kind of become who you are today?
So I think my dad was really influential because he was always saying, know thyself. It's really important to know who you are. And I think that really affected me. I have two older sisters, but they're quite a bit older than me. So I was very much a loner as a child, and I spent a lot of time just going inwards and just being with what I later came to understand as my different parts or sub-personalities, and just figuring out like, wow, I'm this way with these people, and what's going on inside me now. And then when I was about 14, I really wanted to learn how to meditate. This was the 80s before the internet. So it was actually really hard to find out things like how to meditate, how to, do some of these spiritual practices. So I remember just trying to borrow cassette tapes from the library and trying to go inwards and like learn what was going on inside me. So then I think when I was about 30, I did my first meditation retreat. And it was amazing. It was like I realized some of the patterns that I had been reacting to from childhood that I'd been unconsciously just playing out over and over again. Awareness was great. It wasn't super helpful in like changing some of those behaviors. Later, I became involved in nonviolent communication. I started teaching people communication techniques. I was getting involved in conflict mediation, that type of thing. And then when I discovered internal family systems, it was a way that really seemed to bring everything together. So it was about knowing yourself, going inwards, figuring out what parts are getting involved or interfering in various aspects of your life, and then going back to the roots of them and healing the trauma that caused them to behave in ways that aren't always life affirming.
So, who's consistently been your inspiration to evolve into who you are today, to overcome challenges, and to have this positive effect on other people?
Who's been my inspiration?
Yeah, or a hero.
I think I just have lots of people. I wouldn't say just one. And the reason I would say it's not just one is because um, everyone is wounded. We're all wounded, right? And I think when I have hero worshipped anyone, it's become apparent that no one's perfect. And so I've just come to accept that. And I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket, have unrealistic expectations of anyone. And I think that if I can just accept that we're all human and we all have different wounded parts that play out in different ways, then that's just part of being human. So instead, I've taken my inspiration from lots of different people. And I think that by celebrating the how people can live out their authentic selves, that to me is the most inspiring. So I think it started with my dad, though I have had a troubled relationship with him over the years too. I mean, he's now passed away. But I think when I just go through life and I see people consistently showing up and being honest, so it might be someone who has screwed up in their lives, but if they're able to own it, if they're able to say, this was what was going on for me and be real with that, that to me is so inspiring. So sometimes it might be musicians who are like bearing their souls. It might be people in the world of psychology who are working really hard to help people understand themselves. It might be spiritual practitioners. And sometimes it's my children because they teach me about playfulness, they teach me about honesty and what it means to show integrity in that parent-child relationship.
So, if you can meet one person alive on the planet right now that you find inspirational, or someone that might help you on your journey, who would you love to meet and talk to?
Okay, so I think Jenny Young comes to mind. So she is the developer of the burned haystack dating method. And I'm actually not dating right now. I'm not on any dating apps. But what she does is she uses applied rhetorical analysis and critical discourse analysis to look at what people are putting in their dating profiles, how they're messaging, and to really break down what they're actually revealing about themselves. So she is so inspiring because she's super intelligent. And I really love intelligence. And she has like a real, an ability to be incredibly honest and authentic too. And she's highlighting things that I have unconsciously known in how I discern my friends when I have been involved in dating. And she's pointing out things and giving them names. And that's really helpful to me. So I just think she's doing amazing work in feminism and just helping people find authentic life partners.
So, let me ask you this. What is it that gets you up every day to do the work that you do, to continue to evolve, to continue to find your voice? What is that every day for you?
Well, I first of all, I have to say that I'm a morning person. So getting out of bed is so easy for me. I wake up around 4 or 5 naturally, and I'm always excited to start the day because I just love mornings. I have a lot of energy. So, and I will say that I find evenings really hard. So what I decided to do was go to bed quite early because then I could really make my mornings longer. So for me, the creative energy is really juicy and high first thing in the morning. So sometimes I'll lie in bed. I spend some time meditating too, just being with my parts, figuring out who's there, trying to bring more self energy to my parts. But then I start thinking about what I want to write about. And it's exciting. I jump out of bed. I love my morning routine. I make my herbal teas. I start drinking my tea, and then I start writing. And I try to put everything else off. So I won't look at social media, email, that type of thing. What I really want to do is get to the parts of me that just love writing, and it flows so well. And even if I never do anything with it, it just helps me just feel really alive. It's just the best start to my days.
So let me ask you this. If you had a dream tonight and ran into an 18-year-old version of you, ready to go out into the world and change it, what advice would you give that young version of you based on this life you've led, the wisdom you've gained along the way?
So I would tell her to that one day she's not going to care about what people think about her and that she's just going to live her life based on what she wants to do. And I would say, I want you to have that sooner than you're actually going to just discover it organically. And I would say, do what just makes you happy. You know, don't do what other people expect you to do. Just find out what gets you excited and passionate about life, and she already knew that. She knew so much of that already, and just to really like encourage that within her. And if you don't know exactly what you want to do or how you're going to do it, take time out. Don't get forced into roles just because you're 18 and that's what other people are telling you to do.
So let me ask you this. You've traveled quite a bit around the world. What is one of the most unexpectedly magical places that left a very profound impact on you?
So I would say that the most beautiful place I've ever been to is the Abel Tasman National Park in New Zealand. Absolutely stunning hikes, just so beautiful. And I just really felt like so alive and happy there. And in terms of lived experiences, I would say that my 3 years in Japan was just such an amazing time because I was a foreigner there. I was called a gaijin, which is like an outsider, an alien. And up until that time, I'm British, but of Indian descent. And I'd never felt like I fitted in England. And when I went to Japan, it was like I knew my place. I wasn't Japanese, but I was also grouped together with white Americans, white Australians, black people, all sorts of people. So it was like there was a lot more clarity about who I was and my place in society in Japan. And I was also expected to be kind of strange and eccentric. So that actually gave me the freedom to start discovering who I was and what I really wanted to do. And yeah, it was a wonderful experience and opportunity to have that in my 20s.
So I'm going to put your writing skills to the test here. I'm going to put you in front of a room of everybody that knows you professionally. And you're going to walk to the center of that room. You're going to walk to the front and you're going to tell them one fun story about you, a fun adventure you've been on, maybe the first concert you ever witnessed, just something really fun, a travel story. If you could tell that room one fun story, what would it be?
Well, I think it would be something that I've discovered as a superpower. And this actually happened last night. So it may sound a bit, it's not as exciting as going to Australia or New Zealand or Japan. This is something that just happened in Charleston, South Carolina. So I'm very shy and introverted, and I don't usually like social events. But I do try to go out and meet people so that I'm not living this isolated life. And one trick that I have learned is when I go to social events, before I get out of my car, I ask my shy, introverted, socially awkward parts if they would just step aside, if they would go hang out somewhere else, and they don't have to come to the party. And then I go into the party, and I went in last night, And I'm always surprised when this trick, I call it like a bit of a superpower, when it works, because I was not shy. I was authentic. I engaged with people. I had a lot of fun. I was laughing with people. And every now and then I would check in with my shy parts and I would say, hey, how you doing? Do you need some space? And like we just dialogued and then I engaged in conversations around me again. And while it was happening, I was like, I can't believe this is me. I just really can't believe it. And I wish I knew this skill when I was younger because it would have saved me so much social awkwardness. So
Yeah.
it's just a fun thing that I do. Again, I don't love social situations. I don't tend to do things that are too far out of the ordinary. Like I wouldn't go to some really fancy event where I would just be miserable. It tends to just be something outside my comfort zone. But it's a really fun thing to do that just helps me to have more ease in social situations.
Absolutely. That's great. So let me ask you this. As a writer, as a lover of words, what was the first book that you read or one of your favorite early books that you read?
I would say Anne of Green Gables by Lucy Maud Montgomery. So it's about an orphan who was adopted by a couple, a brother and sister in Prince Edward Island in Canada, probably in when would it be? The 19th century, I think. And that book was so meaningful to me because Anne was so authentic and different. She marched to the beat of her own drum. She had values, and she was just lovable in her own unique way. So I think that was super inspiring to me. It was like, here's an example of someone who's kind of weird and wacky like me. And it was really helpful to read about her.
So when you look back on your life of everything that you've done and evolved to and accomplished, what are you the proudest of?
Hmm. I think I am proudest of getting over the difficulties of the custody case. So when I lost my children, it nearly broke me. And I vowed to myself that I wouldn't let myself get bitter, resentful, that I wouldn't let it kill me, and that I was going to get stronger through it, and that I was going to more than survive, thrive, especially for the sake of my children, but also for me. And it was really, really hard because in those days I didn't want to get out of bed. It seemed like there was nothing to get out of bed for. And then I really started, again, as I said, devoting myself to this inner work through internal family systems. Originally, I wanted to get trained in it so I could get so good at it, I could do it on myself. And then I was like, well, okay, now I'm trained in this. I should be like offering this to clients too. And I really did manage to heal so much from my childhood. That doesn't necessarily mean that it was easy to be without my children through all of that strife. But when we're not carrying that baggage from our childhood, we can live our current lives with more ease. And then I really started to love who I am. And that was just amazing to me that I could be happy in my own skin, that I could love who I am, and I could live life joyfully. So that turnaround has been something that I'm super proud of because it's made life worth living again.
So let me ask you this. Everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, colleagues, everyone that knows you, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I think I am honest, authentic, a bit wacky sometimes. Sometimes I can be like not caring about what others think, and that might make me look a bit strange in normal society. I can be honest and direct, sometimes a bit too direct. Sometimes I can be a bit too serious, and other times I can be incredibly silly, like for example with my dogs or my children. Absolutely love learning, so that's just like passions. I'm learning French. I started learning how to play the piano a couple of years ago. So I think resilience, embracing life, and always trying to like learn something from a situation is really important to me.
That's wonderful. So let me ask you this. If anyone wants to reach in and hire you, get into your world more, find more out about you, how can they do that? Where do they go?
They go to multiplemind.com and there's a link to my blog there with loads of my writing. And then they can reach out to me too if they want a discovery call or just simply to email and say hi.
Yes, that's wonderful. Lizbeth, this has been absolutely great. I'm going to put links in the show notes. So great to meet you. Thank you for your story, your story of resilience and evolution. It's been so good. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good to
Thanks.
talk to you with you too.
Thank you. All right, thank you so much. This has been wonderful. I have to make my way to the Carolinas. I haven't been over in that part of the world, and I hear so much good about it. So I got to get over there
Good.
for
Yeah, it's
sure.
really beautiful out here.
Yeah.
So good. Well,
Cool.
thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Great to meet you.
So,
Thank you. Take care.
okay. All
See ya.
right. Take care. Bye.
Bye.